Okay, students, on this slide, we have an example of a distinguished learner level writing. Obviously, you can see that this writing is a little bit longer than the previous three. Don't get worried. Remember that A Christmas Carol is a very long story. It has lots of information about Scrooge. It includes his entire life for the most part. So it offers more experiences and examples than How Odin Lost His Eye does. Okay, this passage that we read, How Odin Lost His Eye, is a short passage. It includes good and solid information about Odin. It may not be as much as A Christmas Carol, but we still need to make sure that you're writing at a distinguished learner level. Okay, so at this level, a student can analyze how events impact characters and how characters may change. So now the student is not just identifying or talking about or explaining, but now the student is analyzing or breaking down and really picking apart how events and experiences led to a character change. So think about Odin and all of his life experiences that he talked about when he was trying to decide if he should sacrifice his eye. He was thinking about everything he has seen with his own two eyes. So you can definitely pull that information into your writing when you write on slide 10. Also, the student explains how characters develop and display a theme or moral. Keep in mind that students writing at this level can break down the specific events that made a character change, can explain how the character's actions develop the theme, and explains the importance of the relationship between the character's actions and the theme. Let's read the example. Scrooge is the protagonist of A Christmas Carol. The major conflict in the play is that Scrooge is greedy, unkind, and uncaring. At the beginning of the play, Scrooge refuses to go to his nephew's house for dinner. He won't donate to the poor and mistreats Bob. The ghost of Christmas past shows him mistakes he made in the past. For example, he let Belle break off their engagement because he cared more about money than her. Scrooge realized that his actions led to a lonely life. Students, this sounds a lot like the writing from the proficient learner level. Okay, so keep in mind that there's going to be minor differences between the proficient learner level and the distinguished learner level. The distinguished learner level, remember, is analyzing and explaining. Okay, in the previous selection and example, the student was just explaining. Now we're breaking it down even more. Okay, the ghost of Christmas present shows him how his actions in the present are harmful. When he sees how the Cratchits don't have enough food, he realizes that it is his fault because he doesn't pay Bob enough. Finally, he learns what the future will be like if he doesn't change his actions. He will be dead and no one will mourn him. Tiny Tim will also be dead because he did not help him. This realization causes him to change his actions, which develops a theme that charity, mercy, and forgiveness all bring joy to both the giver and the receiver. Scrooge's actions are important to the theme because his greedy, cruel actions at the beginning hurt other people. And when his actions are kind and charitable, everyone is better off, including Scrooge. If he had always been nice, he wouldn't have needed to change, and there would be no evidence to support the theme. So students, this information right here is important because this is telling us how Scrooge's actions are important, how Scrooge changed from the beginning of the story to the end of the story is very important. And if Scrooge didn't experience certain things, he definitely wouldn't have changed, and therefore we would not have our theme. So, as you're writing on the next slide, be sure to think about how Odin changed from the beginning to the end of the passage. At the beginning, he is the great All-Father that everybody knows him as. And at the end, he sacrifices so that he can help even more than he has already. If Scrooge didn't change, we wouldn't have the theme that charity, mercy, and forgiveness all bring joy to both the giver and the receiver. If Odin didn't experience good and bad evilness and joy, if he didn't experience his kids growing up, if he didn't experience creating men and women, then he never would want to try and help them even more. So please consider all of Odin's experiences when writing your constructed response on slide 10.